Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about my recent reads. So what books I have read so far throughout the year. So far, since January to now, which we are in April, I have read a total of 10 books, which does not sound like a lot to some people. I have been busy with school and homework and stuff, so I wasn't able to read as much as I would want to. But then again, these books that I have right beside me, they were amazing. I gave 6 out of the 10 books 5 out of 5 stars, so I had a really good part of the year so far. So I have a list here of the books and their star ratings that I gave them. And yeah, I'm just going to start with what I started in January. So the first book that I started actually in December. I started in December, but I finished it in January. And that is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. Totally forgot the name there for a second. This is a whimsical middle grade story about a girl named Morgan Crow, and she is told that she is cursed and that she is going to die on her 11th birthday. But when her 11th birthday comes, there is a man named Jupiter North who comes and whisks her away to the land of Nevermore. And it is honestly such a cute story, and she obviously has to go through like these trials, and she ends up finding something about herself that she didn't know before, which was really interesting to read about. But yeah, I am actually a really big middle grade reader. I really love reading middle grade. Even though I'm in my early 20s and in college, I like a good middle grade. So, and I've heard a lot of people compare this to Harry Potter, which I can see for sure, but I wouldn't go into the story comparing them and saying, oh, well, this didn't happen in Harry Potter. Oh, wait, this did or this didn't. Like, I don't think I would go in talking like that, but you can kind of see some of the connections of where Jessica Townsend put in a little bit of Harry Potter vibes kind of thing. So if you like Harry Potter, which I'm sure all of you basically do, I would definitely recommend this. I haven't read the second one yet. I believe the second one's called Wondersmith. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have the second one. It's on my other bookshelf in the hall. But yeah, this book was really good, and I ended up giving this a 4 to 5 stars. And the next book that I read in January, I also started in December, and that is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is a Christmas Carol retelling. Absolutely, this is honestly, I think, one of my favorite retellings I've ever read. I am really familiar with A Christmas Carol, as many of you are. It is honestly, it's such a good retelling. Like, it still keeps the concept of the whole of the characters, and like the plot's different, but I really enjoyed it. I really love this. It's about a girl named Holly, and I believe she was a teenager, I think, when the ghost of Christmas passed. Was it the Christmas past or Christmas present? I apologize, I haven't read this in a couple months, so the memory's just kind of coming back. But I think it's the ghost of Christmas present that told her that if she doesn't change her ways and her attitude and everything like that, then she is going to die. I don't really want to say what happens because that's going to be a spoiler. I didn't know going into that, and I was shocked. So I would definitely recommend this for around the Christmas season. Obviously, it's April, so we were getting into spring, but it's always this year. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this for a fun Christmas retelling read. And I gave this a 4 to 5 stars as well. Alright, so the next book on my list that I read, I can already tell that this is going to be one of my favorite books of the year. I can already see it. It's going to be in my top 5 or top 10 or however many books I read this year, but it is going to be one of my top favorites. I can already tell. The moment I read the first chapter, I was instantly hooked. Instantly. I was so attached to this story, and it holds a really good place in my heart, and I absolutely am in love with this book. I recommend it to everyone. Everybody needs to read it. It is so good. It has so many good aspects to this story, and that is Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse. This is a historical fiction novel. It takes place in 1943 Amsterdam, and it's about a girl, a Jewish girl who, her and her family, she lived with this other family, like this couple, and all of a sudden Nazi occupied Germany comes and basically runs the town, ruins the town, all that goes for all the houses, you know the drill, right? And so the young girl's family got murdered, and the Jewish girl, and so it was just her by herself. So she was the one who only survived, and of course she is the girl in the blue coat. And so there's this woman named, I think it's Hanneke is how you pronounce it. Hanneke. Hanneke. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. But she works for the black market, and she went to this lady's house where that lady was hiding the Jewish family, and that girl is gone, and she wants Hanneke to try and solve the mystery and try to find the girl in the blue coat, just to make sure that she's alive and she's well. Again, I haven't read this in a couple months, so my memory on this book is really, really faint. So I just remember really, really loving it, and the twists and turns and just everything that happens, you're just like, oh my god, like, I can't believe this happened, or you think one thing's gonna happen and then another thing ends up happening, and you're just like, holy cow, holy cow. It is so good. I would definitely recommend this. The first time I actually heard about this book was from Haley over in Haley in Bookland. I know she was raving about this book, and so she was saying how she has Dutch heritage in her family, and that's why she really connected with this book. I as well actually have Dutch in my family. My Nana is from Holland, so she grew up in Holland. She came over to Canada when she was, I think she was 10 or 11, so she had a good idea of what over there was like when during World War II. She was only 4 years old when it ended, but I mean, she had older siblings to kind of tell her stories and stuff like that. So yeah, so that would make me, I guess, quarter Dutch. Or would that make me quarter? I think so. I don't know, that would make my dad half, and then me like a third, or I don't know, something like that. So anyways, my close relative is from Holland, so that I thought that was really cool, and that makes me have more emotional feel to the story, because I can't even imagine what her family had to go through during that time. And of course, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Alright, and the next book that I read was actually an audiobook, and this was also a reread. I forgot that word for a second. Reread. This was a reread for me, and again, this is the last book in a series. I absolutely love this series. You guys probably know this story by now, but that is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I absolutely love The Hunger Games. I love it so much, and last year I started my reread. I started obviously with The Hunger Games and then Catching Fire, but I wanted to listen to it on audiobook just to kind of get that other experience, because the first time I read it was, I think the first book came out in 2000 and I want to say either, I know it was like between 2008 and 2010, I'm not 100% sure, but I remember reading this about 8 to 10 years ago, and I know the story so well, but I just wanted to be back in that world, and I wanted to experience this world again. I love the characters, I love the plot, the world, just everything. It is so, so good. It's one of the, I think The Hunger Games is one of the most loved trilogies out there. Everybody read it when it came out. Everybody. It was basically the first dystopian book, the first dystopian trilogy that came out that everybody was raving about. And I was obviously one of those people, and I'm not gonna lie, when I first read Mockingjay, I hated it. I did not like it at all. The ending I thought was so insane. Like, how could Suzanne Collins do that to some of those characters? And by characters, I think you know who I'm talking about if you have read this story. I was really upset when that happened, and I just didn't want to read anymore. I didn't want to pick it up again. I didn't want to read this story. I still like the movies, but I did not want to read this again. But last year, since I decided that I'm like, you know what, let's just give it another go. I'm going to listen to the whole trilogy on audiobook. And of course, after getting over all that have happened, I ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars. The 5th book that I picked up in 2019 was Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And if you have seen my, I wanna say my October or November TBR or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But if I just lost my earring. No. I don't know how the heck that came out, but there. I forget what I was saying. But yeah, if you saw my October, November TBR wrap up, or not a wrap up, I guess it'd be TBR or fall reads or something like that, you would know that I have not read this series before. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses back in August or September. Maybe it was October. I'm not 100% sure. But I started this back in 2018 during the later months. And yeah, I did not finish it in 2018, clearly, because it took me almost a couple months to finish it. Well, I was busy with Christmas and with finals last semester and getting ready for this semester of school, so I took a break. And it is a high fantasy, so it takes a while to get started and it takes a while to read because you want to savor it all, and there's just so much information that you need to look for. But nonetheless, I know that this is everybody's favorite in this series. I'm so sorry for that glare. That is really annoying, I bet. But yeah, I actually gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because I loved it even more than A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know what everybody's talking about now, and I'm so excited to get to the next one. I haven't picked it up yet, but spoiler, the 3rd one is not on this list. Definitely recommend this series for sure. The next book that I read so far in 2019 was another audiobook, and that was Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I have read the other 2 companions to this, Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door. I read those a couple years ago now. I never got to Isla for some reason when I wanted to finish the companion, but I heard this one wasn't everybody's favorite. Like, nobody really liked this one, so I was really iffy going into it. But this was actually my least favorite read so far. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was kind of true when everybody said it wasn't their favorite, because it was not mine. I actually like them in order, so my favorite is Anna, then Lola, then Isla, so that is my order. But yeah, I honestly can't really tell you much about this one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I really can't remember what happens. Oh, I know that she goes to boarding school in France, and she's with Anna and St. Clair, and I can't even think of Josh. That's his name, Josh. And Josh is also at that school, but I think he gets suspended or something, and then she's kind of like actually, I don't even know what the heck I'm saying because I really don't remember this at all. I'm just remembering small details. I really kind of just got bored. Even though it was an audiobook, at the time I wasn't really paying attention, and like I just didn't really want to listen when I was listening, which is so stupid to do, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't care for it. And it barely talked about New York. Like, even though it takes place in New York, Empire State Building, it rarely talked about, or they were not even really in New York half the time, in my opinion anyways. I thought they were always in Paris, but Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. I know this is probably a really bad review of this book. Just the way I'm talking about it and the way I'm kind of discussing it, I just really didn't care for it. The next book that I read this year was actually a really good and big surprise to me because I don't read these kind of books. And what I mean by that is that this isn't the kind of book, this isn't like my go-to book to read. It's a graphic novel. I have only read 2 other graphic novels, I want to say. I think I've read, oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Uh-oh. I remember reading one, it was a middle grade one, and then I also read Paper Girls. I read Paper Girls Volume 1 like last year or something, and it was okay, like it was good, but the story was like really weird. I don't know, it was a little bit too weird for me. But this one that I'm going to talk about right now is actually a good surprise. I had a feeling I was going to like this, but I didn't realize how much I would like it, and that is Lumberjanes Volume 1 by... Who writes this? Who writes this? I feel like I just missed it. I just saw it and I missed it. I don't know. But it says like, I don't know, names up there, but it looks like they're just last names. But anyways, Lumberjanes Volume 1, it is so good. I fell in love with this story. I love all the characters. These girls are badass. Like, they are so cool. Like, I loved learning about them, and like the artwork is beautiful. I love this book. It is so good. It's about these group of girls, and they are at summer camp, and they see something in the forest one day or one night, and they go to their counselor and they basically say what happened and what they saw, and it's true. It's true what's happening, and it's true what they saw, and they just kind of watch out for that, and they go off and do their own thing still, and they have a good time, and it's awesome. It is a really good story. I thought it was so super fun, and I definitely want to pick up the rest of the series. I don't own the other ones, but I really want to get them, and I really need them, and I need to read them because this was just so much fun to read. And of course I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Alright, and number 8 on my list is another reread, and I absolutely love this book. This book was amazing. I wanted to read the first book before the second one came out, and I'm actually currently reading the second one right now in the series, which if you were following my reading vlog, I will leave a link down below to that, but if you were watching that, then you would know that I am reading The Wicked King. So obviously the book that I'm going to talk about today is The Curlprints by Holly Black. I first read this book last January, I think, when it came out. I read it right when it came out, and it was so good. I absolutely love it. I know that this book has been really raving, especially this year since The Wicked King came out. Everybody's saying that The Wicked King is good, but it's not as good as the first one. But then again, I also heard that the Wicked King is better than The Curlprints. So my personal opinion right now, I'm only about over 100 pages in The Wicked King, and I don't really have much to say at the moment. That's not too spoilery. Can't say that word apparently. But yeah, I reread this because I kind of wanted to just kind of refresh my memory before I read The Wicked King. And I also tabbed it. I also, I don't know if you can see that. I also tabbed this story because it is so good. I love it. And yeah, I tabbed a lot, and I marked in it too. Like I did, hold on, where did it go? I also like marked in it, and yeah, it is so good. And of course, 5 out of 5 stars. We're almost done. I feel like I've been talking forever now. This is almost a half-hour video. But anyway, the next book that I read in 2019 so far was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is an adult fiction mystery sort of novel, and I actually read this when I went to Mexico. This is about a reporter named Lo, who she fills in for her boss, who was supposed to go on a cruise ship and do some report things. It doesn't really discuss what she's actually there for, but she's basically there on a cruise ship for the weekend, and Lo has really bad like anxiety because a couple days or a week, I can't remember, a couple days or a week before she leaves for this boat cruise, her house is broken into, and she sees the person who comes into her house, and so she tries to protect herself, and she just has really bad anxiety from that. So she's going on this ship with really high expectations that something is going to happen to her, and lo and behold, she hears one night a scream from cabin 10. She hears a scream, and she also goes into that room to see what the heck's happening, and she sees blood everywhere. And when she's trying to tell people on the ship what had happened, nobody believes her because nobody was staying in cabin 10, because just from what they know, like, nobody was in that room, nobody checked into that room. So it was really interesting to see. This is my first Ruth Ware book, and I absolutely was hooked. I was so hooked on this story. There were a couple times where I got a little bit bored, and I kind of just wanted the story to pick up, but it eventually did, and it was really, really good. I really highly recommend this book if you are looking for a good mystery thriller, and Ruth Ware is definitely one to go to. I don't own any of her other books, but I really, really want to read them. I really want to get them as well. I heard that The Lying Game, and I think it's called The Dark, Dark Wood, is the other one that I saw, or that I know of, and I heard those ones were really good as well, so I cannot wait to pick those ones up and try them for myself. And The Woman in Cabin 10 I gave a 4 to 5 stars. Alright, finally at the end. So this is the last book that I recently read this year so far. I think I finished this in March. It has to be March because I didn't really read much. I haven't read much so far in April because of exams and stuff and my finals this year. It was in March when I finished it, and it was a audiobook, and that is The Land of Stories, The Enchantress Returns by Chris Colfer. I read the first book, The Wishing Spell, last summer, I think. I think it was last summer that I listened to it. I listened to the first one on audiobook as well. It was so good. I absolutely love this story so much. The characters and the plot and just everything. I knew I would love it because I absolutely love fairy tales. I love the fairy tales and the fables and all that kind of stuff. So I knew for a fact that I was going to love this as well. And these stories are just so good. I think there's 6 of them in the series. This is the second one, so I think I have 4 more to go, but I would definitely recommend the audiobook for these. They are just so good, and it's actually narrated by Chris Colfer as well, which is amazing. I love him so much. He is so good at telling stories, and he does different voices for the characters, which is really fun. And yeah, this is such a magical story. But since this is a second book in the series, the first book, The Wishing Spell, is about a boy and a girl named Alex and Connor, and their grandmother has had this fairy tale book forever, and they discover it all of a sudden, and they get whisked away to the Land of Stories. And they are trying to get back home because they are worried about what their mother's going to think, and just how time's going to pass, and they think time's going to pass, and their mother's going to be not here anymore by the time they get back. So they go on this quest with this frog, and his name's Froggy, and he helps them find and make the ingredients for the wishing spell. They can get back home because the wishing spell can grant you basically any wish that you like. And the second one is actually about them with more characters, not necessarily new characters, but characters from the first one. And they go on this quest to find ingredients to make the Wand of Wonderment. I feel like that's what it's called. The Wand of Wonderment. But yeah, I think it's called the Wand of Wonderment. But yeah, the Wand of Wonderment, it basically destroys the Enchantress. The Enchantress she's the one who cursed Sleeping Beauty, and the Enchantress has basically taken over the whole land of stories, and the twins Alex and Connor want to defeat the Enchantress because the Enchantress has their mom. So they are going on this journey to find the ingredients to make the Wand of Wonderment and destroy the Enchantress. And it is just a fun and easy and just lovable story that I would definitely recommend. If you are not a big middle grade fan, but love fairy tales and love Disney and love all those fable stories, you would actually really love this. The writing in it is just so fun, and it is so enjoyable that I could not stop listening to it. It sounds like a movie. It sounds like you're listening to an actual movie. It is so good. Definitely recommend this series for sure. And I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, of course. Alright guys, that was it for my recent reads video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will leave my recent videos down below for you guys. Also, my reading vlog that I did. It was my first ever reading vlog, so make sure you go and check that out. I will also leave all of my handles, my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle down below for you guys, and also Goodreads. And yeah, go follow me on those if you would like, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.